Welcome everybody to the MSIX and AppAttach Made Easy session. We've got two great presenters for you today. One is me, Jim Moyle. I'm a PM for Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365. And the PM for MSIX who'll be joining me is Sushant Bansal. He'll be talking to you a bit later on in the presentation. We'll be talking to you about exciting things we've got coming for both products and how you can combine both products together to make an even more exciting whole. So today we're going to talk first about the AppAttach enhancements that we've got releasing extremely soon. We're also going to be talking about the MSIX enhancements that either are out or are coming very soon. And then if you can just ask any questions in the chat, and Sushant and I will be there answering any questions that you have as well. First of all, AppAttach enhancements. There are effectively 6 main changes that we're making to AppAttach for this next release. Where you can run an application has in the past been problematic. And we've received a lot of great feedback in that you want to be able to make any application run on any VM. And this is what we've managed to do for you. So it doesn't matter where that session host is, doesn't matter what host pool that session host is, you can run that a single application instance on any host pool, on any VM, on any session host you like. It's also been a common bit of feedback that you want to be able to, within a host pool, on the same VM, have a unique combination of applications for every single user and have those applications entitled on a per user basis. We've also managed to get this into the next release for you. Now, updating an application or making sure that your application lifecycle is as correct as possible, that you're keeping up with the vendor's releases, has always been interesting in terms of interrupting people's workflow. If you're using AppAttach to deploy your applications, you can update an application. You could even roll back to a different version without interrupting anybody's workflow. So even on the same multi-session VM, one person can be using application version 1. You update to version 2, the next person who logs into the same VM can be using version 2, and you won't interrupt the person using version 1. What format can we use? Right, well, any MSIX, AppX, and we're also now including bundle formats in the ability to use those formats for AppAttach. And we maybe got a little Easter egg hiding at the end of this session for you as well in terms of additional formats. The ability to use modification packages. So if you've got an application directly from the vendor, but you need to personalize it for your enterprise, for your organization, you need to modify it, then modification packages were supported in desktop. They're also supported in remote app as well nowadays. And identity. Previously, we needed line of sight to a domain controller. You can still use hybrid identity if you like, but we will be introducing the ability to support Entra ID only identity without line of sight to a traditional domain controller. That's the only static slide I've got pretty much. The rest is demo. So let's see first how to create a disk image. Let's get something whose lifecycle changes a lot, like a preview app. So we don't want everybody to have a preview app, maybe just some people, and that changes all the time. So this is a great candidate for AppAttach. So we've just downloaded the MSIX bundle from Winget, and we're going to use a tool called MSIX Manager to expand that native MSIX bundle straight from Microsoft into a disk image. Now, if you use aka.ms/MSIX Manager, you'll always get the latest version of that tool, which I've just downloaded and unzipped into a directory. Now, obviously, I've just downloaded something from the internet, so I want to make sure that I'm being very unsafe, and I'm just going to take the blanket decision to totally unblock all of those files for use on my personal system. So that's what we're going to do now by recursing through that directory and unblocking all of those files. Let's get into that directory, and we'll take that MSIX bundle, which we downloaded from Microsoft via Winget, and we're going to put that in its own folder as well. There we go. Let's paste that in. And let's go back to the command line, and we'll go into the MSIX Manager folder so we can easily use that tool. Instead of trying to type it all out in front of you, I've got that in my clipboard. It's going to tell you what the dependencies are. I've already sorted out the dependencies in my environment, but if you haven't, then that's a good hint for you to sort out the dependencies in your environment as you start assigning these applications to your VMs and to your users. It's the new modern SIM disk image file, which comes as a set of files rather than a single file like you'd find in a VHDX. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to copy that to whatever storage that I think is appropriate, whether that's Azure files, Azure NetApp files, or even just an SMB share on a server, whatever you like, it doesn't matter. Now, we've got that disk image on some storage. We now need to configure the app in the Azure portal. So let's do that. We've got a new menu item on the left-hand side called App Attach. Excellent. We're going to go through some of the traditional things. So we're going to select a resource group and we'll select the host pool. New feature will be able to browse a storage account. You don't have to remember a massive string or try and typo anything or keep stuff in your clipboard or in Notepad++, which is what I always used to do. We can now browse for the right disk image. As we can see, that's the Windows Terminal preview that I just downloaded and put it in a disk image. We're going to pick the 64-bit. Actually, do go back. It says ARM64. I'll go back and change that. That's not in the video, but we picked the 64-bit version of the application. I'm going to assign it to 3 host pools. So remember what I said about you can apply any application to any VM? This single one is applying to those 3 host pools and give 2 users the right to use this application. You can do groups as well. They need the role assigned for the application, but there's no problem doing groups. Let's have a look at the configuration. On demand, it's active, and we said the default, if there's an error, is needs assistance. You can see that that's the 64-bit version of the terminal preview. You know what? I don't fancy using it on my personal host pool. Let's take it off the personal host pool. You know, later on, we can add any host pool back in the environment that you like. Let's just check that user that I added in for the use of the application is there. We can add more users. We could take users away. This is how you entitle the application. This is what counts as to who gets the application, is the users that you have assigned here. If they're not in that group, if they're not assigned to the application, they don't get the application. That's how we make sure that all of the applications are per user. You get that unique combination of applications that we were talking about. So let's just prove to you that that's worked by logging into my pooled Windows 11 environment. This is a multi-session VM. There's terminal preview. I don't have to install it. It's up and ready, waiting for the user. Excellent. Now, what if I want to update an application? We talked about anything with a swift lifecycle being an excellent candidate for app attach, like a preview app. Another thing that updates a lot is browsers. So let's do a browser demo. Here's Firefox version 1.10. So this is an older version of Firefox. We can see it's assigned to one host pool and assigned to a couple of users. Let's have a quick look at the properties. We can see 110 in 64-bit, and we can see the configuration. I've already got 2 users, user 1 and user 2, logged in on 2 different sessions here. We can see they're on the same host, and we can see that Firefox is the same version on both of these sessions. They're both on the same host. Let's log out of one of the sessions. Let's update Firefox in the background. So no maintenance window needed. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I've already got the path in my clipboard, so we'll just paste that in there and we'll choose the right package as well. Perfect. So this is happening completely in the background. As you can see on the left, that application is still open, still being used by that user, but now we're on 130. So now let's log in with that user that we logged out of. I've edited out a couple of minutes here because you should wait a couple of minutes as everything sorts itself out in the background. But the next log on the same VM, we open up Firefox. Now I know this is going to work because it's a video, but let's hope that we're seeing 113. Excellent. It is 113 now. just in case you're entirely suspicious of this, we'll prove that it's the same host name. We'll prove which user it is. And we'll actually put this side by side with that original session that we had for the original user. And we can see that we have managed to update the application for the new users logging on, but the existing users are still able to work on the old version of the application. So we're not interrupting their workflow. No maintenance window needed. Absolutely seamless for the users. So that is updating. Oh, just in case, you can downgrade as well. It's just changing version, doesn't have to be changing version upwards. You can roll back, absolutely no problem at all. I said at the top, being per user, super important to the community, to our customers. So let's see how that looks. Now, remember I said that apps are entitled at the application level. They used to be entitled via the application groups. That's no longer the case. So if we have a look at the assignments to this desktop, it's just a big group of AVD users. There was no app attach application in that desktop application group, not like we used to. So now I'm doing a remote app. I can have a single application group for all MSIX applications. And the person that sees those applications is dependent on the per application entitlements that we configured before. And we can see it in the feed there. My user 2, who I said can have the application. User 1 is still in that same remote app group. They just don't have the rights on the application. So in the feed for remote apps, we can make whatever application you like per user basis. And also in the desktop, we can do exactly the same thing and make sure that the application is per user, and you can get a unique combination of applications for everybody. Let's just double check, log on with the other user to the same VM in the same host pool. They're allowed in the same application groups, but they won't be able to see that application. Perfect. Now then, if you're somebody who's got a lot of old MSIX packages in your environment, then what are you going to do? You can see how cool this is. We're on the same host. We've got the same user. We've got all these brand new features. But you say to me, Jim, I've got 5,000 packages in the old architecture. What do I do? What do I do with all these old packages? Well, if you've only got one or two, then maybe just creating them by hand is fine. But if you've got thousands, we've got some help for you. So essentially, we can migrate old packages for you. We've worked really hard on a PowerShell script. This is an old MSIX package like this one. And all we need to do is run the get command for that old package and just pipe it into the migrate. Now, by default, this will set you up a brand new app attach application. We can see all the logs for it there. So obviously nothing went wrong with that migration. And let's have a look for that new application. It's called the same as the old one. By default, no host pools, no users assigned. If you want to assign host pools and users during the migration, you absolutely can. There's parameters for that. If you want to make the new one active, there's a parameter for that. If you want to make the old one inactive, probably a good idea. There's a parameter for that. And if you're really brave, you can even set it to delete the old application after migration as well. So we can migrate all of your old applications to this new architecture. We can run any application on any session host. Applications are per user, and you can update and run the lifecycle of your applications without any maintenance windows. That's almost all I've got for app attach, but now we're going to move on to Sujant and the MSIX enhancements.
Before we talk about enhancements in MSIX, let us understand why are we talking about MSIX. App attach requires apps to be in MSIX. And we continue to see a growth in MSIX adoption and continue to make it significant improvements in the platform basis what we hear from the community. Firstly, we are making improvements for IT pros to make it easier for them to convert apps to MSIX and subsequently use app attach. In the past, we have released accelerators, which is an efficient way to repackage legacy applications to MSIX format. We have also released Package Analyzer, which helps you identify fix-ups automatically. Building on these, we are further simplifying the repackaging process. IT pros will now be able to save the fixes detected by the Package Analyzer, MPT will generate an accelerator template pre-filled with fixes detected and applied. IT pros can save and reuse this template during repackaging, saving them time and effort. Now let's move on to the demo. We have opened MPT and chosen the package to be converted. Now we will leverage the package analyzer. It will automatically help us identify the fixes. So package analyzer analyzing it, we are using the app so that it can analyze if there are any fix-ups that are required. Yeah, so these are the fix-ups that are identified by the package analyzer. We will apply them and save the converted package with fix-ups. The accelerator will automatically get saved at a location which can be accessed later. I have it open and this is how it will look. You can see these were the fixes applied. Now I will also show you the flow where we have the accelerator and we are converting for the second time. We can just choose the package, the accelerator, and the entire conversion will happen. So voila, the package is created with the fix-ups automatically applied. And I'll show you the applied fix-ups. These were the fix-ups that were previously identified and these were applied this time without any manual effort. This will save a lot of time and effort for the IT pros. We are also investing to enable migration from AppV to MSIX. We want to help you modernize your AppV investments and want to ensure that this migration is as seamless as possible. Most of the AppV 5.1 packages can be converted to MSIX using the MSIX packaging tool today. However, there are a few paper cuts and we are working to close them. Deletion marker is one such paper cut. What are deletion markers? In AppV, a deletion marker for registry key is a special marker that is created when a registry key is deleted from a virtual environment. We are provisioning a similar deletion marker strategy in the MSIX virtual registry. Lastly, we're also making the platform better for developers. We want developers to be able to create app attach packages with ease. Creating an app attach ready package and managing the publishing process can be a manual and cumbersome endeavor. Previously, we introduced the app attach toolkit for Visual Studio, and now we are also introducing ADO extension to simplify the process. If you have to test and publish an app attach package today, it involved 7 steps, all of them manual. Now you can effortlessly create VHDX images, publish them directly to your AVD host pool, all from within your ADO pipelines. The process is quite straightforward. We were also hearing from our developers regarding the lack of desktop shortcuts for MSIX packages, and I'm glad to announce that we have finally built that too. It is currently in preview and will be generally available soon. Now, giving it back to Jim, talk about more.
Thanks, Sushant. So you've told us how we can really easily migrate from AppV. So as App Attach, we want to help you as well. So we can actually, and this is not for the next release, this is for the release afterwards. You see that we've actually got an AppV app that we can take in the same time as an MSIX app. So if you're halfway through your transition from AppV to MSIX, or you're experiencing some of the paper cuts that Sushant talked about before, you don't have to wait until all of your apps are into MSIX format before coming into App Attach. You'll be able to bring your existing AppV packages as well. And upgrading from AppV to MSIX is as simple as the upgrade procedure I showed you earlier in this session. All you do is point at the new SIMFS or VHDX image, and you will go straight into MSIX without needing to change any of the assignments or the entitlements for that application. So this is coming to you where you are and is enabling MSIX upgrades in place as quickly and easily as possible. So Sushant, if you wouldn't mind closing us out for me.
Surely, Jim. So you can visit our tech community for feedback, and if you have any questions, you can also email us at the above address. We could not cover everything in detail, but we will be releasing a blog with more details on the tech community. Thank you, everyone.